The Magic's two newest players have played their first game. What did they do and the impact they're going to have? Why they might be the most important players of the season today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is October 6th, 2025. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, credentialed member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, we're going to continue recapping Game 1 of the preseason overreactions. Not really. I don't do overreactions, but we'll talk about Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones specifically, what they bring to the table for the Orlando Magic this season, and more takeaways from the preseason opener. We're going to get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. Make Locked On Magic even bigger part of your day by being one of our Orlando Magic dailies. That is 5 days a week, sometimes 6, sometimes 7. Be an everyday listener of Locked On Magic. It's all part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. We are still learning about our two new players. We talked Jace Richardson a little bit yesterday. We've talked Noah Penda. The rookies are the rookies. I am talking about the veterans. I am talking about the older players who are meant to help shift and transform this team. I am talking about the bestest friends the world has ever seen, Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones, and what they are expected to bring to this team. Now, we got our first look at them on Saturday against the Miami Heat in the preseason opener. We got our first chance to get a feel of how these two players are going to fit in. And look, let's just keep it real. As I warned you, do not read too heavily into stats and numbers from the first game. Like, Paolo took only 7 shots. He made only 2. I think we could all agree, even watching Paolo during that game, that he looked fine. 3 blocks especially. His defense looked a lot better than his offense. No one's worried about him finding his rhythm. And the same is true for Tyus, and the same is true for Des. Desmond Bane shot 3 for 7, 1 for 3 from 3, 2 for 2 from the line, 6 rebounds, 3 assists for 9 points in 13 and a half minutes. Not blowing the world open, not like, oh, this is like, oh my God, this is a devastating team. It's a veteran easing his way into the game. Tyus Jones was the same way in that same 13 and a half minutes. He scored 3 points on 1 for 3 shooting, made one of his 2 3-pointers, had 2 rebounds, had an assist, had a turnover. Not super active, not super crazy involved, but just getting a feel for where his shots are going to come from and what he's going to do. Just looking at how they fit on the court. As I mentioned on yesterday's episode, and our weekend episode, go listen to that. We do weekend episodes after games. I do episodes after every game. We're going to do that all year long. We'll do one Friday after the Sixers game, so just be ready for it. I felt like Dez in his first stint was kind of a little all over the place and just trying to do a lot and really get a feel for where things were and where to attack, and was at some points hesitant to attack, but in other points was like, no, I am going all in. I'm going right in there. I'm going to mix it up, and it's going to be great. That's fine. First preseason game, you got to kind of test the water a little bit. And again, the whole game felt, especially that first quarter, really did feel like we're going to dip our toes in the water here. We're not diving head first. We're just going to kind of go through it a little bit, where guys have an opportunity to be aggressive and showcase some things, go for it. But Paolo wasn't overexerting himself. Dez certainly wasn't overexerting himself. And by that second stint in the second quarter, you could feel how much more comfortable they all were. They're like, okay, like this is what this is generally going to feel like and look like. Let's roll into it. Tyus Jones was kind of the stabilizer in that first quarter stint and that first quarter group. Again, made that three, wasn't really getting in the paint, wasn't really attacking, did a good job, I thought, picking up the pace and getting the Magic kind of into their sets, but then just kind of standing out of the way. Again, he had a three, did some, move the ball pretty well. Like I have no complaints about either player. In fact, I was honestly more impressed with Desmond Bane's ball handling and attacking and passing than anything else in this game. Honestly, like if I'm the biggest takeaway that I had from this game, besides just Jace Richardson, when he finds his groove, can make things happen and plays a lot taller than he is. And again, it's just going to be about, okay, doing it against different competition. Like third quarter stuff wasn't as important as first half stuff, and he didn't score in the first half. But like, look, he said it after the game that like he felt like rushed in the first half. The second half, things slowed down for him. And again, I think that's just like, that was emblematic of the entire game. The entire game, it just felt like the first half, the first stint, like everyone was just super excited and over eager, and maybe their legs were a little too into it. And then in the second stint, in the second half, like everything calmed down and we kind of hit our level. Again, that's fine. It's the first preseason game. I'm not gonna freak out. I'm not gonna go crazy over it. I'm not gonna be just like again, like we're gonna talk about the game. I'm gonna talk about some more takeaways and some other things I'm watching, but I'm not obsessed over this first preseason game. It's some data. Data's important. Got to look at what they're trying to do. This is so far from a finished product, and I did not expect it to be a finished product. And so, like, I was really impressed just, again, how these two tried to fit in and keep the ball moving and keep things moving along. And, Tyus, we expect that from. And I think, like, a game like this where the ball swings to him, he's going to shoot it. He's going to organize. He's going to get into the lane, get things initiated. That's what we're going to expect from Tyus. Desmond Bane, did not expect him to be this kind of in sync, to have this much like driving gravity. Like he got a couple nice dump downs to Wendell Carter. Again, his assists were really nice assists. And I think he had some assists that just got left on the table. I don't have the potential assists in front of me, and I'm not looking them up because it's preseason. Who cares? But I really, really, really was impressed with how Dez fits in as a playmaker. And in this kind of offense the Magic are trying to run where everybody does everything, I'm kind of thinking we undersold how much those 5 assists per game that Dez averaged for Memphis are going to mean and what that's going to add to this team. There, again, like I want to repeat this. There is still so much work to do. This team still has a long way to go, a lot of work to do, a lot of things to clean up, a lot of things to get better at. But if the concern was, again, like, and I'm always concerned about this, it's just like, yeah, it looks great on paper, but how's it actually going to work? The on paper stuff looked like it's going to be fine. Once the Magic learn where Dez likes to spot up and where he likes to move on movement shooting, the shooting's going to be there. Right? Like I'm not worried about it. And the Magic are looking to get him shots. Well, we'll probably see a game in this preseason where the Magic are just like, we're going to learn where Dez likes the ball, and we're just going to pass it to him and figure that part out. And he'll take like 5, 6, 7 threes and however long he plays. But again, like I'm not worried about Dez getting himself ready for the season. He knows how to get himself ready for the season. And so both Dez and Tyus look like they're going to be really good fits. And that part is important. They just have a little bit of a learning curve to go. But that's been one of the big talking points throughout training camp. The leadership impact that Dez and Tyus are bringing to the scene, the solidity and the calmness that they're bringing. I want to comment a little bit on that before we dive back into this preseason game. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by friends over at Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus. Powered by Peloton IQ, it is their most advanced equipment yet. Designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. Peloton IQ offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, and corrects your form, making every rep safer and smarter. The swivel screen is a game changer, so you can go from running on the treadmill part, the Tread Plus, to strength training off of it without missing a beat. And the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level each week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Again, explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones obviously have a relationship. They both played with the Memphis Grizzlies. When Tyus Jones announced that he was signing with the Orlando Magic, Desmond Bane was one of the first guys on social media to be really excited about it. In fact, Des said that after the trade, they had talked about Orlando. And when Tyus eventually signed with Orlando, like the two were over the moon to be reunited. It is no secret that Tyus Jones has been on the Magic's radar for some time. In fact, you can go back into our archives. Trade deadline 2 years ago, we talked to our friends at Locked On Wizards about Tyus Jones as a potential trade candidate. We talked with, I believe we talked with no, we didn't. We talked about him in free agency last summer. So there's a couple Tyus Jones episodes in our archive, and then we talked about Tyus Jones with Locked On Suns with Locked On Suns earlier this summer as well. So there's 3 Tyus Jones episodes before Tyus Jones really even joined the team. He's been on the radar for a while. And obviously, like a lot of what the Magic like about him is he's such a low mistake player. He's just a solid guy that's going to do his job. And again, like there may be limitations. He may be better off the bench than he is as a starter, limiting his minutes and such. But he's going to perform well in the minutes that he gets. Both Dez and Tyus have said that they're learning. Like this is a camp for them to learn. The Magic have had success. As limited as that might be, the Magic are a successful team. They have a way of doing things, and it's on them to teach Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones how to play the Magic way. And so there is a little bit of they're the new kids on the block. They're not here to make waves. They're not here to change whatever it is the Magic are doing. They are here purely to add to what the Magic are doing. And of course, the Magic, like with Desmond Bane especially, want to integrate what he does well anyway. So there is that meshing. I'm not sitting here saying that there isn't some meshing of talents and skills. So on one hand, both Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones have acknowledged that they're here to learn. They're here to follow others. But make no mistake about it, just like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope last year, we could say what we want about KCP and the way that he played last year. He was an excellent leader in the locker room. He brought a seriousness to the Magic's camp and to their season that helped them make the most of what they had. Now, obviously, like they didn't perform the way we wanted them to. Injuries played a big role. But again, I will continue to argue like getting the 7 seed, finishing 500 was a miracle, was a real testament to the strength of this team. That was a good it wasn't the best outcome, so maybe not a good outcome is the right way to say it, but the outcome of last season was pretty strong in the end. And so obviously you send out Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and you're still one of the youngest teams in the league. If I'm not mistaken, Tyus Jones is the only player older than 30 on the roster. Both Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones are the only players on this roster who have been out of the first round. I'm a big believer that playoff experience matters, that advancing deeper in the playoffs, it's hard to do. And when you know how to do it, when you've done it once, you know how to do it again. So I do think that is an issue that the Magic don't have a lot of playoff experience. It's one thing that this season's really about is, again, continuing to get deep playoff experience. You've been to the first round. You know how to get there. It's getting out. It's getting to the second round that's going to determine a lot of things for you this season. To that point, both Bane and Jones, despite being the new kids, are providing leadership on the floor. They are providing leadership in this camp just as much as they are learning from their new teammates on what Jamal Mosley's looking to do, the kind of defensive system they have, like the things that they're bringing back from last year. Des and Tyus are adding themselves into the mix. And both have had positive impacts. Both have had positive effects on this team. They're both credited with being really smart players. It's not just the talent that they bring. Wendell Carter said Desmond Bane is a great communicator. He uses his voice to bring out everyone. We've talked a little bit about how Bane is a talker on the court. In a good way. He's going to hound people. He's going to be in their ear. The Magic like talkers. They like to talk. That's part of their culture, for better or worse. Teams are going to hate them in the playoffs, especially when they get deeper in the playoffs. The teams already hate them in the playoffs. But communication is a big factor in why the Magic are so successful on defense. And the energy that a guy like Desmond Bane brings and the talking that he brings, that's something that Carter says is going to lift the team's defensive energy up. Tyus Jones is the same way. He is a vocal leader, and multiple Magic players lauded both of these players for being vocal, for using their voice in camp to help younger players get better, to help older players get better, all within the context of this team. You know, I think it is fair to say Paolo and Franz are the quote-unquote team captains. But they're still very, very young. Franz admits all the time, I am a quiet guy. I need to learn how to be vocal and keep people up and keep my teammates up. Paolo is the same way. Paolo's a yapper too, but Paolo is the same way. He's kind of a more quiet guy. He understands that it is his responsibility to help encourage others and lift others up. For Des and Tyus, that's natural. And because this is such a together team, there is no hierarchy of leadership. Some nights it's going to be Dell lifting others up. Some nights it's going to be Paolo. Some nights it's going to be Franz. Some nights it's going to be Des. Some nights it's going to be Tyus. Everybody is empowered to lift each other up and take on leadership roles when needed, to be leaders in their role as much as anything else. And the fact that Des and Tyus bring experience with them to the plate and are already making their voices heard, that's exactly what the Magic want. We know this stuff on the court's going to be there. We saw it on Saturday, to be perfectly honest. And in whatever limited fashion we did, we saw it on Saturday. But they're already making their voices heard. They are already being vocal and being players that everyone else on the team listens to. And to do that in a training camp setting, to do that very, very quickly is not easy. I want to give the credit where it's due. It is not easy. And so already it feels like Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones. I haven't decided to go last names, first names, nicknames, whatever. Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones have already made this positive impact. Now, again, yes, KCP did that last year. And I don't think Kenny gets enough credit for that leadership, and it is a concern about losing that. Just like there's a little bit of concern about losing Cole and his voice and his energy and how he keeps everybody loose. Just like last year, I was concerned about losing Markelle Fultz and his voice in that locker room. But I think last year showed as much as anything that this is a group effort. Leadership is a group effort on this team. And the fact that Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones are already feeling comfortable enough to lead is a good sign for this group. Let's put a wrap. We're not going to put a complete wrap on the first preseason game because we're going to talk to the Magic on Monday, but let's review some other takeaways from that first preseason game. Let's dive a little bit more into some stats that we were watching. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you will unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. With FanDuel, there are so many ways to play. You can build parlays, try player props, and even follow the live lines during games. With the NBA season right around the corner, there are NBA futures up there as well, including award winners. Jamal Mosley is still the favorite to win Coach of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. I've been saying that for the last few ad reads. Let's go double check. Let's make sure that is true. I am pretty sure that is true. I don't think it would change too dramatically, but let's make sure that is true here. Jamal Mosley, still a favorite to win Coach of the Year at plus 600. Quinn Snyder right on his tails at plus 650, tells you the kind of season they want. You can even bet NBA preseason games, but you're not going to do that because you're not a sicko, you sickos. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Again, visit FanDuel.com, download the FanDuel app today, and bet $5 on your first bet. And if it hits, you will get $300 in bonus bets only at FanDuel.com. We already went through the box score. If you're looking for my full take on everything that happened Saturday in San Juan, and again, credit to the fans at San Juan. Really good energy in that building. I know it sucks that there was all the Miami Heat's game ops people. I'm just kidding. I like Michael Biamonte, their PA announcer. Other than that, Heat culture court. Really, really fun energy in that building. I know Puerto Rico loves its basketball. So great to have the NBA have a game in Puerto Rico. And I'm glad that they got most of the Magic stars. Obviously, Franz did not play. Magic opted to rest Franz Wagner. The official reasoning was just giving him another. They didn't want to throw him back into a game after a busy Eurobasket. So nothing crazy there. Nothing to worry about there with Franz. He should be fine. I would bet he'll play Friday in Philadelphia. I would bet we will get a Paolo game off. I will bet we'll get a Desmond game off somewhere before the start of the season. So, maybe Paolo sits the Philadelphia game. Maybe Des sits the Miami game on Sunday. And then they all play together in the dress rehearsal against New Orleans in that finale 1 week from Thursday. So preseason come really, really fast and furious here. I want to just talk about a few quick things here. Let's talk offensive rating and defensive rating. Let's talk just the basic stats. Orlando in the first half had a 92.6 offensive rating. But I'm not so concerned about that. Bench group just stunk. Literally just stunk. 56 offensive rating for Jace Richardson in his 10.5 minutes in the first half stunk. The offense was a lot better. Maybe defense wasn't quite where the Magic wanted, but again, the Magic starters were +1. Ended up with a plus 3.3 net rating in the first half. So clearly they did something right. In the 13 minutes and 26 seconds that Tyus Jones, Desmond Bane, Wendell Carter, and Paolo Banchero played together, Orlando had a 120 offensive rating. That's fantastic. I wouldn't say any of them shot particularly well. There's a lot of free throws. But again, we'll take a 120 offensive rating. The 116.7 defensive rating, we will not take. We will not be happy about that. But generally, I thought the Magic were active defensively. They were just a step slow. They fouled a lot. All of their turnovers turned into baskets for Miami. So again, stuff that I'm not super concerned about. Things will clean up on both sides of the ball. So I just want to note that. The other thing I want to note is pace. The Magic's pace in the first half was 107. Again, those four players. Tristan da Silva played only 9:39, so he came out early. Anthony Black got some minutes, got some run with the starters. The Magic had a 107.2 pace. Last year, I believe they were at 98, 99 possessions per 48 minutes. Big focus of this training camp has been to get out and transition more, to run more. And I would say not efficient yet. We're going to dive into those numbers here. Let's get those numbers now. Not efficient yet. Orlando scored 5 fast break points in the first half. I didn't think they were particularly great in transition. 8 points off turnovers in the first half. Miami had 17. Big reason why Miami was in the lead throughout the first half. Converted off of every turnover, got to the foul line a lot. Orlando didn't quite match that level. And again, like a lot of that was the bench group. So I'm not going to freak out about anything there. 7 points off turnovers, or 7 points off turnovers with the starting group, 17 total in the first half. So there's still work to do. All 5 fast break points came from the starting group, which is good. And just generally, like, the Magic did play faster. Like, again, I think there is an emphasis on playing faster. That may have led to some of the turnovers just being a little sloppy, being a little excited. All understandable. And again, the second quarter stint was a lot better than the first quarter stint. So again, by Everest, I say this every year. I'm sure you guys get annoyed by me saying this, but I will repeat it. My philosophy in the preseason is you want to get better each progressive game. This was a good base. Magic did some interesting things. They tested, put their toe in the water on some ideas and concepts they're working on. After 4 days of practice, I'm pretty happy with the way that they played in general. I see the vision of what they're trying to do. Now they get another week to layer some stuff on top of that, to solidify themselves before they go back into another game. I think Friday's game against Philadelphia will be a much better representation of what the Magic are trying to accomplish and what the Magic are trying to do and what the Magic will look like than this game. Fact of the matter is, I just think this game came too early in the calendar. The Magic don't typically play games this early. They like to really get in that first game and have some weight under their belt. Typically, they take the Saturday, the first week of training camp off. And so, like, it wouldn't shock me if part of the reason they struggled was some heavy legs. And look, they're going to practice all week this week. They're scheduled to practice Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, travel to Philadelphia, play Friday, off Saturday, game Sunday. So heavy legs are part of it. You're fresher right now. It's not that big of a deal. And again, it's preseason. I honestly, like, it's preseason. How you're performing in practices and what you're doing in practice is far more important than the preseason games. Like, Jamal Mosley's probably sitting there saying, like, okay, we didn't do X, Y, and Z as well as I would have liked, but intention was there. And I would agree, intention was there. I think they were trying to play faster, trying to move the ball, trying to explore the canvas a little bit. They were a step slow on rotations and fouled a lot. I'm not going to lose sleep on that. That'll come with time. And again, like, I think, and I even mentioned this on the broadcast, I thought it was really interesting. David Steele and Jeff Turner watch practices. They are up in the canopy during practice, up in the, they have a seating section on the 3rd floor of the Advent Health Training Center. The court's on the 2nd floor. They watch practices. And so they mentioned during the broadcast on FanDuel Sports Network Florida that practices have been really physical. And the Magic instruct the refs that they have, and they do have refs at their practices officiating their scrimmages. They've been telling the refs, eat your whistle. Like, let them be physical. And so they probably needed to scale back some a little bit. Again, they were step slow, which you expect at this stage. You expect at this stage, and you just hope that they clean that up. And look, Magic are going to foul a lot anyway. That's part of who they are. And so they're like, again, like, this first game was a good base. I hope, like, you can see the vision of the free-flowing offense that they have, the speed at which they want to play, the passing and unselfishness that they think they can create by having 5 shooters, by playing a lot more 5 out. They're putting guys in the dunker spot a lot more. I don't think we've seen Wendell Carter in the dunker spot this much in a while. So I'm a big believer that the vision's there. I see the vision. I see what the Magic are trying to do and what the Magic are trying to accomplish. Now it's about layering it on, getting comfortable with it, executing it, repeating it, doing it over and over and over again. And again, that's what practice is for. And we'll get checkups in these games, but these games are like secondary to what they're learning in practice. These games are about applying what they're doing in practice. And I would say to that extent, Saturday's game was a success. The Magic applied a lot of things that they're working on in practice. The speed was there. I like what I saw. They got more comfortable as the game went on, so they got better as they played more. And I think that's going to be the case like Friday in Philadelphia. I think the Magic will play really, really well. I think the Magic will be in much better shape Friday in Philadelphia. And again, we'll see. We'll see how it all comes together. So some good stuff. I mentioned Wendell Carter. I want to give Wendell Carter another shout out. Like I thought he played really, really well. Just looked springy. Just looked like he had an extra bounce to his step that we haven't seen from him in a while. So really excited to see how he builds on that. And again, like Dez did some really good things. It looked like he was getting comfortable in that first quarter. Was frankly the catalyst for the team's offense in the second quarter beyond just his shooting. So I am a much bigger fan now of his playmaking and creation after what we saw Saturday. And so we'll see again. We'll see how much it carries over. I don't want to overblow one preseason game. You could probably point to some things that you're not happy with, like the turnovers were not good, the fouling wasn't good. I expect a lot of that to get cleaned up. I expect a lot of that to improve by Friday's game, but we'll see what trends emerge. But I generally think Saturday was just a really encouraging game for the Orlando Magic. So, we'll see. We'll get Jamal Mosley's assessment at practice on Monday and review that here. But I think the Magic did. I think the Magic did a lot of good things. I think they won the game, which helps. But starters won their minutes by 1 point, which I'm pleased with. We'll see what more normal rotations look like. We'll see what this team looks like with Franz on the floor. To be perfectly honest, it's a different team at that point too. And so I think we'll start to see how this all comes together. And there are definitely things to clean up. There are definitely things to be concerned about, and definitely. And I'm not going to say they were perfect, but generally an encouraging night. We'll see what trends continue what trends continue Friday night in Philadelphia. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. You can find me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Emily, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the public on podcast to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can check us out as well on YouTube. Just search for Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, Orlando Magic Hub. Check out my newsletter. I'll be recapping the Jace Richardson game on my newsletter on Monday. Check it out again at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. Now that you're done listening to me, be sure to go check out the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Make it your second listen of the day because, of course, we're number one. Josh Lloyd hosts the number one fantasy basketball podcast, giving you daily tips and helping you win your league, all while making you a smarter NBA fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, all part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll be back tomorrow to check in with the Magic, with the team, what they think they did in their first preseason game. We'll continue breaking that down on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.